Here is everything you need to know about buying a foreclosure home in Ontario. Hi, my name is Adam Nadler. I am the owner of Vision Real Estate. Thanks so much for tuning in again. If you find some value in this content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And if you have any questions about real estate whatsoever, feel free to click on the link in the description below. That will connect you to a calendar where you can book a quick 15-minute chat with me at a time that's most convenient for you. Or feel free to hit me up by email to adam@visionrealestate.ca. Any question that you have, and I will shoot you a response within 24 hours. The market's turned, and I'm hearing everybody talking about getting a great deal. If those thoughts are going through your head, then a foreclosure sale on a home may sound like an amazing opportunity for you. But there are a few things that you need to know about a foreclosure sale in order to actually scoop a good deal. In this video, I'm going to be going over exactly what you need to know in order to purchase a foreclosure. First things first, keep in mind two things that are really important throughout this video when it comes to foreclosure sales in Ontario. We are going to come back to these things over again when we talk about strategy, so they're important. The first thing you need to know is that the owner of the home always has the right to redemption. That means that they can make their payments or they can pay off their loan in full up to the very last second of closing, not the sale. That's really important, so keep that in mind throughout this video. The second thing that you need to know is by law, the lender is required to get fair market value for the home. Now keep that one in mind too, because we're going to come back to that one as well throughout this video when we talk about strategy. Okay, so we all know what a foreclosure is. Basically, an owner has stopped making their mortgage payments and now the lender is putting the house up for sale in order to recoup their loan. The first thing you're going to notice about these types of purchases is when you are looking for them, you will often find two listings for the same home. That's because the owner always has the right to redemption, which means that they can sell it themselves as well at the same time. So you'll see two listings for the same home, one from the lender and one from the owner. And they can be at different prices. They can have different terms and conditions that they'd like to put forward with the MLS listing. So always take a look to see who's listing it at what price, and then reach out to both of those listing agents to find out exactly what their position is. Okay, so you've spoken to both the agents of both the listings of the same house. What you'll typically find is that the owner will list the house for slightly higher than what the lender is listing it for. Now, this is where you got to be careful when you are speaking to the lender, because the lender's primary concern is not only getting their money out, but doing it and not getting sued in the process. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, it's really simple. If the owner feels like the lender undersold the property just to get their loan amount out, they can sue the lender for not selling at fair market value. Remember, the lender is only entitled to the loan amount. Any equity that surpasses the loan amount on the property rightfully belongs to the owner. So if the owner feels like they undersold the property in order to get their loan out, they're cutting into the owner's money and they will sue that lender if they feel that that has happened. So what does this mean for you? If you're a buyer and you are looking to negotiate a deal with the lender, you need to make sure that they feel comfortable that they are in a position where they're not going to get sued, or at least that you've provided them everything they need to feel comfortable enough that the probability will be low that they will be able to get sued by the owner, or that the owner will have an extremely weak case. So when you're putting in an offer to a lender, it's really important to actually make a case as to why you're putting in the price that you're putting it in at and why they should be accepting that, and it's safe for all parties to do so. This can be a little bit tricky, so here is a good tip. Don't look for listings that have just come out. What you instead should be doing is looking for listings that have either matched or surpassed the average days on market for homes in that area. For example, if you know that the average days on market for a given area is, let's say, 22, you want to find those foreclosure listings that have either been sitting on the market for 22 days or just over. What this does is it gives the lender the ability to show a court that they actually have stayed on the market for enough time without selling that now it's okay for them to accept a slightly lower amount because they've had enough market exposure. Especially in a market like we're in these days, fair market value is a very highly subjective thing. So you want to put in your offer with a bit of a narrative. Make arguments that are geared towards a price that favors you using comparable sales in that given area that will suit your argument. This doesn't just help to get your offer accepted by the lender, but it also makes the lender feel more comfortable that they could use that same argument in court should the owner pursue them legally. Okay, so you're working out a deal with the lender. What do you need to know? The first thing that you need to know about working out a deal with a lender is that it is as is, where is. What that means, legally speaking, is there is no take-backsies, there is no warranties of any kind. That lender is selling it to you as is. So make sure to do your diligence during either a conditional period or before you submit the offer. Run a title search, make sure there's no other liens on the property from any other lenders. Do an inspection, make sure that you've really done your due diligence on every single part of that property. Because once you have a deal in place with that lender, you have no warranties or guarantees of any kind from that lender. Okay, so let's say you've done your due diligence, you're okay to move forward with the property, you have signed away any warranties or anything like that, and hopefully you actually made a good enough argument to get a really great deal. You're not out of the woods yet. You have one more thing to really just cross your fingers on, and that one thing you're praying for is that the owner will not redeem prior to closing. Even if you've bought and have a firm deal on that property, the owner can still redeem before you close and make your deal null and void. And yes, that means that there can be two listings and two firm deals on the same property at the same time. And whoever closes first wins. So a really great way to get around this is to make sure when you're buying a foreclosure property to do a really short closing. Get your lawyer to do the title search and do requisitions immediately. If everything is done properly, you should be able to close on that property within 2 weeks. And the faster that you close, the more of a chance you're actually going to get your deal to go through and you've got that property at a discount. If you've done all of these steps properly, then you should be able to get a deal and the lender should feel comfortable that they're not going to get pursued legally from the owner. I know all of this sounds tricky, and that's because it is. Typically, foreclosures are not always a good deal. You really have to find the ones that work for you. You have to make sure that you put the work in up front to make everybody comfortable with the deal. Always remember that fair market value is completely subjective, and you need that subjectivity to weigh heavily in your favor. Also remember that all foreclosures in Ontario are called power of sale, and they will always have that in the listing, so make sure your agent watches out for them. I really hope that you found this content valuable and that it helped you secure a great deal. If you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell so you can be notified every single time I put out a new video. Happy hunting, and I will see you next time. If you like that video, click the subscribe button on the right, or feel free to enjoy another video here on the left.